All right, we are recording. And 3, 2, 1. Hey, Tammy.
Hello.
Hi, everyone that's on. I'm really glad you're on. Now, I know there are a lot of trainings in our company, and there are a lot of trainings out there in the network marketing industry. This one's going to be a little bit different today because we're going to do conversational with Tammy. And so get ready to get deep. Get ready to get deep. You are our what do you call it? Guinea pig for this.
Okay.
And it is something where it's going to start with personal development, but then it's going to go into skill set, because a lot of times people, this was our whole thing that we preach on, right? Is that we got really too into mindset and then stopped taking action in our business. We're like, let's just visualize that it all comes to us, and which is really important to do. But then when you stop taking action, then you don't have the full puzzle. And then for a while, like before that in our business, we took a lot of action, but we didn't believe in ourselves. We didn't believe in the industry. And then of course the third piece that we always talk, I don't know if you can see this, but it's backwards, but belief, action, and letting go. That's kind of our little slogan, because letting go is what we had to do when we were 3 years into the business and we were still living paycheck to paycheck, and we were trying to control it, thinking we had to be a certain way. We thought, and we'll be really real here, Timmy, like you probably feel the same way. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I need to be more like that person. They have gifts that I don't, I need, and I can't do this as good because I don't have their gifts or whatever.
Sure.
And we just were struggling still. And a huge part of it was the control aspect. We thought, no, it has to be this way. And we just were not trusting that God, or if you say universe, that's fine, but that it was going to unfold in a perfect way. If we just took the actions and had the belief, we might hit the rink in a different way than we were thinking we were going to hit it, but it still works, right? Or like we might say, oh, I want this, and this person to join my team. And then none of them did, but some other random person comes in and blows it up, right? Because you quit trying to control everything and think that you know best. We don't. So as soon as we did that, we let go, had the perfect combination of belief and action. That's when our business, because you're in our company, in our team, went to the multiple six figures and tons of thriving teammates. And we were actually happy to do it. Like we were actually happy to follow up.
Hey, Ashley, like that right there, what you just said, I think was worth the whole webinar. That's awesome. I love that.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Turn you up just a little bit. So now I don't want to go too much into the training because that's Brian's job.
That's Brian's job.
But I do want to ask you, if you want to real quick, do you deal with that? Do you deal with either, a lack of mindset one day, a lack of action because we get, distracted and distressed, and then, a lack of trusting the process?
Yes, you deal with all three sometimes, just different zones that you're in. I just look at my path, and sometimes I've had, the belief, sometimes I've had the action and not the belief, and it's just a random mix. But if that's the formula, or that's the try thing that helped you guys,
the trifecta for business success.
Trifecta. Oh yeah, I've totally been all over the place in those genres. So yeah, this is good. It really resonates with me what you just said. So. Mm-hmm.
And can I segue into what you're talking about, or no?
Yeah, I want you to.
He knows that I can't even handle it, because I want to tell a little bit of, like, just a little thing, and I'll
absolutely,
because I know what he's going to talk about.
You say I'm the trainer, that's my thing, but you have
really
too.
Together he's got the strategy, I got the spiritual emotional side of it, right? So okay, so what I wanted to say was that a lot of us, I was reading this book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and I think it's like the number one mindset book that everyone should read. Psycho-Cybernetics, go get it. I was reading it, and I've realized that like a lot of times when I have fear to follow up, or I allow distractions, or I allow the resistance, you know, or the belief that we can get to the next rank, or that we can help more people, or whatever it is, we always find some way to self-sabotage, right? And then I feel guilty, like I'm not being a good example. I just stink at follow-up. I just stink at it. And you get this idea, the story in your mind, right? And the truth is that your self-image, that you think you suck, or you think you're not good enough, or you're just not getting there, the self-image, the way you see yourself gets worse when you don't keep promises to yourself. And that's what Brian's going to talk about. And I just wanted to segue into that because I'm the one who kept breaking promises to myself over and over and over and over. And so if you just keep the tiny little promises, like make one little thing, and I'll let Brian get into this, but like, you know, for example, say today I will absolutely follow up with 5 people no matter what. I will call 5 other people and love on them and connect with them, you know, and you actually keep that small promise to yourself, then your self-esteem goes up. So I'm gonna have Brian dig deeper into it, because I just want to tell. You ever felt like that, Tammy? Like you're just,
Jude.
Is that just a breakthrough?
You're reading my mail, but go on.
He's like, I'm reading my mail. Okay, I'm gonna get Brian over here.
Alrighty, cool. Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so I am going to be doing a little PowerPoint. I know some of you are on your phone, and that's fine because we are recording this. And so we're going to post it up on YouTube, and you can go through the slides. But I'm going to also try to do a pretty good job of explaining what's on the slides as well. The slides are actually more so for me than they are for you, because they keep me on track. They keep me letting me know what I need to be saying and things like that. And this is actually an excerpt. What we're going to show you guys is actually an excerpt from a training program that we put together, the belief, action, and letting go that Ashley's talking about. So
it's actually called the 3 Deepest.
The 3 Deepest Secrets, yeah, the network marketing success. Let's move this guy. Actually, let's turn him off. I don't want to see.
Only special people are getting it for free, but
yeah. Hide video panel. There we go. Okay, so this segment that we talk about in the trainings, we're all about kind of building your belief structure back up. Because if you can get that self-image and that self-trust built back up, there's a lot of doors that open up for you as you move along. So I want to ask everybody a question. So do you want the cold hard, Tamara? Do you want like the cold hard truth? And I'm pretty sure you've heard this before, because the first time I heard this was from your brother. But do you want like the cold hard truth about your business?
Yes.
Yes, you do? Okay, well, the truth is, I don't think you can handle the truth. By the way, that's a cartoon picture of Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men, I think. Actually, no, it's not. I just didn't want to have a copyright infringement. So that's the closest picture I could find of a cartoon of him. But the truth is, if your business isn't where you want it to be, it's because you're not where you need to be.
Well,
I don't know if you've ever heard Tim say that before.
Nope.
Nope. But he maybe just said it once flippantly to me.
Listen to our family.
And it hit with me because I always tell myself, or I've always heard people say, I want my business to be better. I want my business to grow. I want this, I want this, I want this. And they're not doing anything to grow themselves. They're not doing anything to expand themselves. And so that's why it's so important that we build that belief structure in ourselves. We continuously grow that. So that's what we're going to be talking about, self-image and self-esteem. Okay, so this is, I think, by far the absolute most crucial thing about your business and your happiness in life, is the self-image, the image you have of yourself in your brain, of who you are. And I don't think a lot of people sit back and they really try to dive into that. I think we're kind of, so much of us are on overdrive. I'm actually reading a really, really, really good book right now. It was recommended by my brother-in-law. It's actually Lost in the Cosmos by Percy Walker. It's the last self-help book you'll ever read or ever need. And it's actually not a self-help book. It's actually a kind of an expose on the self-help industry. And the whole concept behind it is, the main question that's actually being addressed in the book right now is, why is it that we can look in a telescope on a dark night and look up into the sky and know exactly where that telescope's at and look at the constellations around it and be able to open up our computer and study that star and go, okay, then that's not a star. Oh, that's Jupiter. And I know that Jupiter has this many moons and this moon has this and this moon has that. And Jupiter consists of this and Jupiter consists, and you can know everything about the planet Jupiter that's hundreds of millions of miles away from you, but you don't know yourself. You don't analyze yourself. You don't look at yourself. You don't think about yourself, and how you view yourself is on autopilot. And so that's kind of the whole concept of this training that I put together with this segment, was taking the view you have of yourself, taking it off autopilot and becoming conscious and intentional with your efforts instead of passive and, on autopilot. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think it's absolutely crucial to grow this, because in all reality, and I truly believe this, your business can never outgrow your self-image. You just won't let it. Tony Robbins talks about the thermostat analogy. There's a bunch of other analogies that people out there talk about. But if you think that this is where you belong and this is what you deserve based off that subconscious self-image you have of yourself, you will never let your business grow beyond that. And I've seen that with a lot of people. Even in their personal life, they think that this is the type of husband or wife or parent that they are. And that's what they almost strive for mediocrity. And so you can never really outgrow your self-image. And we've seen this in our business. When things were really going really well, that's when we were improving ourselves and improving our self-image and what we saw of ourselves and realizing that there was better and that there was more. And then our business came along with it. It's kind of amazing how that works. So some good news, you're on the call. You're already taking that step. You're already moving towards that type of thing because you're intentional now with trying to improve yourself. The people that are on this, people that are watching it, that's a very, 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 very good sign. A lot of people,
good job.
Yeah, good job. A lot of people do a business like this, or they try to improve their life and they don't put in the effort consistently. They say that they did, but they really don't more often than not. So I want to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, and there's a little workbook that comes with this program. How much do you value yourself? In all reality, on a scale of 1 to 10, and I need you to be completely 100% honest with yourself. How much do I value who I am as a person? And this is a really weird question to ask yourself because you really don't ever ask yourself this question. And so it's one that you need to sit back and ponder for a little while, because I think if you look at your current circumstances and like what you're getting out of life versus what you're wanting out of life, and that either that small little gap or that huge chasm that's between those, that chasm is 100% based off the value that you have of yourself. So that's why I always tell everybody in this training is write down 1 to 10, how much do you value yourself? And I think that can be directly seen in the results that you're getting out of every aspect of your life, in your marriage, in being a parent, being a child, in your business, everything. It kind of manifests itself. Even in the Bible, they talk about, judge just by the fruit that the tree bears. So
judge something by the fruit.
Yeah, Ashley did sword drills. I never did growing up. So she knows the quotes better than I do. So here's a couple of really good quotes that I like that have to do with this. So the image you have of yourself today is based on the experiences you've had in the past. I'll repeat that again for people who are listening in the car on the phone. The image you have of yourself today is based on the experiences you've had in the past. So the experiences you've had in the past don't make you the way you are. They make you believe you are the way you are. So both of those put together, the image you have of yourself today is based on the experiences you've had in the past. But the experiences you've had in the past don't make you the way you are. They make you believe you are the way you are. So let me give you an example of that. So I grew up and I was constantly, I was the youngest child. My brother's very successful. My sister's very successful. My mom and dad, they're hard workers. And I grew up in this household where I'm a little bit, some of you might find this hard to believe, I'm a little bit more of an extrovert than the rest of my family. And especially when I was a young child. And so I was off the wall crazy with energy and excitement. I would say stupid things. I would do stupid things. I was the youngest kid and I was a young kid. And that was That was just the way I was. And so eventually I got to the point where I was continuing in my mind to say and do stupid things. And I was the youngest child. And I think a lot of times the youngest child, their viewpoint is, at least to themselves, is less valued more often than not than other people in the family household. And this is something that's actually kind of studied in family therapies and family psychology, is the youngest child, they tend to have a smaller view of their personal, of what they're trying to say. And so as I grew up and went into adulthood, I carried that with me because the experiences I had in the past made me believe that that's the way I was. What I said wasn't valuable. What I said didn't mean anything. What I said was stupid. What I said was immature. I said that too quickly. I made the wrong decision here. And I carried that with me. So those experiences made me believe the way I was the way I was, but that's all they were. They don't make me that way. And I now know that what I have to say has more value and more weight to it. So there's just kind of a little bit of an example of how the experiences that you can have in the past can dictate what you believe of yourself today. So maybe taking a step back and thinking, okay, what have I done in the past? What are my experiences in the past that really reflect that on 1 to 10? What really reflect why I'm a 6 or why I'm a 4 or why I'm a 1 or why I'm a 10, right? Why do I feel stinking awesome about myself? And now a lot of that has to do with the experiences you've had in the past. So don't get all introspective on me and just, let's stay focused on the training. So how does this work? How do you get to where you're at? Because it's a cycle. And this is a small segment of the cycle that we teach deeper in the trainings. But which one comes first, Tamara? Which one, and this it's not really a trick question, so don't freak out. But which one comes first, faith or belief in anything in life?
I would think faith comes first. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because here's the deal. And this is true in everything. And here's what I love about people who are, who are negative against people who have spiritual beliefs. Let's put it that way. Hardcore atheists, is what they don't understand is they make fun of people's faith. Oh, you have faith. I live in proof. I live in the scientific world where everything is proven. That's what I believe in, is tangible. The problem with that philosophy is you cannot believe anything as fact unless you have faith in the source that it's truth. And that's true across the board. So what happens is the belief structures you have in yourself are built. And then it's the cyclical cycle. It's this cycle where, you start to believe something, you have faith, you start to have this structure that's built inside your brain that this is the way you are. And then the belief structures cycle that. And like I said, this is there's 2 more segments to this that really fill it out. But I wanted to start out small with this training and kind of get that concept of know that having faith in something has to start before you can start to have belief in something. So that's why I want to start having you build up your faith in yourself or your trust in yourself. And that's kind of the whole concept of this training. And this cycle can build you up to the best version of yourself or bring you crashing down in despair. So the faith aspect is actually what we're talking about today. We're building that faith in yourself, the belief in yourself, the trust in yourself. Because if we can build that up, you can change the cycle to an upwards motion of building your belief, which will result in things that prove to yourself, oh, well, I just did that. That is who I am now. And this cycle, if we fleshed out a little bit more and later on in the training, but this is the beginning of it. And that's why we're starting with the faith aspect of things. Is that kind of making sense, Tamara?
Yeah. And is that kind of what you were talking about yesterday about momentum? Like this
right. Yeah.
Momentum inside you.
Yeah. That's why, on a 15-minute call yesterday, we wanted to go deeper into this, but it's like, okay, if I had to boil it down to one little thing that I could boil down into another smaller nugget, that's kind of where momentum is a huge aspect of every part of your life. Yeah, absolutely. And you have a momentum moving yourself upwards or momentum moving yourself downwards with this cycle as well.
That's good. Thank you.
Every little thing you do that you keep.
Every little thing
you do that helps you believe in yourself more or helps you see that you can keep a promise to yourself, makes this snowball of man, I am awesome. I am creative for this. I have unique gifts.
Yeah.
That God wants to use through me in this business.
Right. So the next part of this is all about building you back up because a lot of trainings are really great, but I have always felt like I go into a lot of different trainings, and they give a lot of really cool information, but they don't give these actionable things that are immediately you can take with you and go, hey, I can apply this in my life. This is something that today, right now, I can start putting myself on a better path to being the best version of myself, which is a big thing Ashley and I strive for. Okay, so number one, these are some now these are the new things that we're wanting to instill in you right now. And are you still there, Tamara?
The audio kind of was really bad right there.
Could you go turn the phone off of there?
In and out.
Yeah, turn it on, turn the Wi-Fi off, and that way it won't take up our Wi-Fi. Sorry, we're gonna go turn off Zoe's video really fast because she's probably taking up some of our bandwidth. So anyways, we're going to hit on a few ideas here that ultimately lead to the one core concept and some actionable things. So these are some things I want you to start to really contemplate. If you can write them down, I highly recommend it, because these are things I want you to look at and go, this is the new truth. This is the way things are now. Because these are fundamental truths. So the first one is, if you have a negative self-image of yourself, it was made that way in error. You were not created to think of yourself less than what you were meant to be. You were always, and here's the deal, a really great quote from, I don't even know it's a direct quote, but from The Magic of Thinking Big, is perfection is never attainable. Perfection is, nothing can ever be perfect. There's only been one thing that's ever perfect. Everything else will always fall short of that. So if that's the case, and if that's true, we can always get better. We can always improve, right? So you're always called to be the best version of yourself. You're going to hear that kind of a lot with what Ashley and I teach on. And so if you were built to be this best version of yourself and to strive for that, then anything negative that's pulling you away from that was made that way in error. It was something that was put into your brain, past experiences that happened to you, that made you believe that you were less than what you really are. And it was made that way in error. So I think that's a new belief structure you have to have now. I believe that it was made that way in error. Okay. Next one is, know your self-image can change. I just gave you an example of, when I was young, I used to think a certain way, and I still struggle with this. That's one thing I want people to know, is you've had something that's been programmed into your brain that's either negative or positive, that is become an integral part of who you see yourself as. And so if you want to fix that or change that in the negative sense, it can be changed, but you will still struggle with it until it becomes this new pattern, until you have that cycle of the faith in the belief, and that cycle keeps going around and around and around, until that becomes the new norm for you, until you have momentum, like what Tamara said. That's what can be tricky. Until you have that, it's going to be a little bit hard. But once you get it, it's amazing, because then now you're on the upward cycle and everything starts to change in your life.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I went through a period in my life where I struggled with my faith, like in a higher power, right?
Yeah.
And a loving God, because of how I was treated by girls growing up, mean girls, and just some ways that my parents thought. They were never mean to me, but just the thought processes they had, I took on.
Right.
They had a lot of self-doubt and low self-image in certain areas of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were times when I had a hard time believing that I was truly made in the image of God. And I'll also say this for you, if anyone out there is not, really faith-based like that, I think of it like this: get angry a little bit, and get mad, and don't allow either people that were mean to you growing up, or your parents told you weren't good enough, or they felt low self-image, so then you took that on as a heritage type thing. Get mad about it and be like, screw that. Well, I'm not gonna take that on anymore.
Yeah, and there's countless examples of that in successful people who were in an environment where they were drenched in that negativity that should have created that faith and belief structure that drives them down, but they overcame it. So there's countless examples of that you can look at, and so it can be changed. Now, will it be changed? That's ultimately up to you, and that's what we're trying to pass on to you guys. Am I still there? Tamara, can you still hear me?
I can hear you, but you're not. There you are. Now you're moving. Okay, got it. You're good.
Alrighty, cool. Okay, next one is, excuse me, decide who you want to be. So I think this is what's really fun about this is you can kind of make a new blank canvas moving forward. Who do you want to be? You are experienced enough in life to know the type of person that you want to be. And there's an earlier segment of this training, I talk, it's all about know thyself and learning yourself better. And so this is kind of a build upon that. And when you're looking at this, what I recommend people do is you kind of just honestly get a blank piece of like printer paper. Don't get one with lines, because there's a mental image that you're wanting to create of who you want to be moving forward. And so now when we're looking back on these three things, if you have a negative self-image, it was made that way in error. It can change, and now you decide who you want to be moving forward. And so with that in mind, the next part of it is I want you to write down all the quality and characteristics you want to assume. And Shakespeare actually said, assume a virtue, and it's yours in one of his plays. I think it was Hamlet. I don't know if that's a direct translation or verbatim of what he put in there, but assume a virtue and it's yours. And I think that's so, so, so important, because we want to, if you have an image of yourself, then it's negative. You can change it. Then you can assume the virtues of these other people that you are striving to be. Create the person that you want to be. We attended a Tony Robbins event a year or so ago, and we've already attended it once before, but he said something new that I never heard him say before, and he said, "I built this Tony Robbins that you see in front of you. I built him," and I think that that's true with all of us. We build the house that our mind lives in. You build that, whether it's a good house or a bad house. And there's also ways that you can talk about where's that house built, the association. So I'll get into that into a second. So number 5, I think, is the absolute most important aspect of this, is stop breaking promises to yourself. Because if we're going to sit here and we're going to go through this and we're going to try to make decisions and be better versions of ourselves and build our business or be a better wife or a husband or a child or whatever, a parent, then when you look back, and Tamara and I talked about this yesterday in private, I asked her, like, how many times have you had somebody do the business or start the business and get really excited and then just fall away really fast? How many times has that happened? How many times has you've had a prospect get really, really excited and then fall off the face of the earth? How many times has that happened, Tamara?
Countless.
Yeah, for us too. It's like, what happened? These people were excited, they were ready to go, and all of a sudden there's nothing there. We make up all sorts of things in our brain. And what I think ends up happening with those people is they have this excitement, right? Let's put yourself in the mindset of this brand new person that ended up falling away. Why would they do that? Well, there can be negativity, there can be other things, but ultimately, if that person had a strong self-image of themselves, they wouldn't let anything break them down. So what happens is one little thing comes in and it starts to rattle that negativity or rattle that positivity. And then what kicks in the back of the brain subconsciously is that self-image you have of yourself. It's like all of a sudden that thing starts talking. You're like, well, you know what? It's probably right. Because, you never really followed through on this. You never really followed through on that. Well, that's fine. You've never been successful in this before, and you were never meant to do this because your parents were never meant to, your parents never made that much money, or whatever excuse that part of your brain starts making up, and then you break the promise to yourself. Now, what happens there is you started that cycle of the faith and belief, and it validated itself. Something came in and destroyed that. And so for you on the call, what we want to do is we want to take hold of that cycle, and we can control that cycle. And the best way that I've learned how is to stop breaking promises you make to yourself. How many times have you said, I'm going to work out more and eat right or all these different things, and then you never do it? Because you have the image of yourself that breaks promises. So now let me break it down one more way for you.
So make less promises at one time.
Yeah. So before I jump on to the next part really fast, what I want you to do is think of yourself. If you can close your eyes, then great. But if not and you're driving, then don't. So think of yourself as a completely different person. Like they're your twin, right? But you do everything together. You went to school together. You do everything together. Let's just leave it at that. And let's say, this is even better. Conjoined twins. That's an even better one. The conjoined twins, one twin said to the other one, I'm going to start working out and I'm going to start eating healthy. Okay? And the other twin was like, oh, awesome. But then the first twin, they never did anything. They all of a sudden later they're eating Krispy Kreme donuts. Like, what would it? Think back on how many times have you broken promises on all the things that you said you were going to do when it came to your health, when it came to your business, when it came to your finances, when it came to being a better husband or a wife or whatever it may be. How many times have you broken those promises? Now take all of that and look at it like it's a separate person. Would you trust that person if they told you, hey, I'm going to build this business. This is it. I'm going to make it happen this time. Would you be like, sure, I'll believe it when I see it? Or would you be like, I believe you because you've lied to me a million other times, right? Now, some people, like Ashley, they can do this, and no matter what, they are going to be like, I'm going to do this, and she'll keep doing this to herself. The problem is that can create an emotional roller coaster. So when you take control and you look at yourself now moving forward and you think to yourself, how can I ever expect to follow through on any goal setting or any new beliefs that I'm going to create within myself? How can I trust any of those commitments if I keep breaking promises to myself? So that's why we want to stop doing that. So we want to move forward thinking like whenever we say we're going to do something, almost externalize it and think of it in a way that, hey, I am making a promise to a completely different human being that's going to keep me accountable. Like make it a mental process and make that person the person that you wrote down in the previous part of this. All the virtues that you wrote out, give that person a name. Call them, and Tamara, you can do this. If you had to write down all those virtues, they can't be Tamara. Give that person a name. Everything that you feel like you're strived and called to be, what would that person's name be? Whatever the first name that comes to your mind. Don't overthink this.
This is kind of crazy, but I was talking to, I think it was my friend Shell, about a book that we were going to get together, and it was like, you are a badass woman. And so it'd be that. That's crazy.
Her name would be Badass Woman. I love it. No, don't feel stupid, because you know what? Now you are accountable to Badass Woman. Maybe it's Bassy Woman. Maybe call her whatever. No, that's your name. That's what you want to call it. Her name is Badass Woman. So write down to the top of that paper, Badass Woman, all those virtues. That's a different person. That's the person waiting for you in the future than a time machine that was going to come back, and that badass woman's going to kick your ass if you don't do the things that you're meant to do. So now, every time you make a promise, say, I'm going to build my business now, Badass Woman. Now, don't tell yourself, don't tell the universe, don't tell the world. Tell Badass Woman, and now all of a sudden, mentally, you're held accountable to a completely different person mentally. So there's a lot of power in that when you can do that. Okay, so next part of this is just some real quick tips and little nuggets I'll give you guys before we wrap up, because we're at about 40 minutes here. Never trade your convictions for convenience. You create these new convictions in yourself, and there's going to be an easier way to do something that's not going to be as good. Never take the easier way. Take the right way. And I think that's something I tell Ashley a lot, and that was told to me when I was growing up. The right path and the easy path are more often than not the same. More often than not, the hard way to do things is the right way to do things. The easy way for me to get healthy is to not buy the little thing I sit on and it vibrates me all over the place, and all of a sudden I have a six-pack ab a week later. It's going to the gym, eating right, getting healthy, all those different things. That's the harder way, but it's the right way. And that's kind of universally true. Next one is what I would say is something like this is really powerful, because maintaining this new faith that you're building in yourself and in your business can be most easily done by having strong associations. So what I talked about earlier is where you build that house. What kind of house is it? What kind of house did you build have your brain in? It's also what kind of neighborhood did you put that house in? Do you have a decrepit house in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood? Eventually, you're going to want to build that house back up, because you're going to be walking out your door going, oop, all these other people, I gotta pick my game up so I can keep up. So building the strong associations of the people that you put yourself around is really powerful. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be through audios, through books that you read, through calls like this, different things like that. That are going to build those associations back up. I like fake it till you make it. It can be a really strong Kickstarter. Don't do fake it till you make it forever. Once you've made it, don't keep faking it. Don't go off and rent a Lamborghini for a day and be like, look how awesome I am. It doesn't really work that way. And so be authentic to yourself, but telling yourself that you're on your way there, telling that badass woman, this is the way it's going to be moving forward.
Well, and every time you do one action that is keeping a promise to yourself, that is quote unquote making it.
Right.
Because in that moment you were that badass person.
Right.
And so our life is not becoming something. Our life is little tiny moments. So all put together, right? So for every moment that you can be that badass woman and put them in line, like, okay, this moment I did it. I'm making it. I am that person. The next moment I'm doing it again, instead of like trying to make it in every single area of your life. That was my mistake, is like I was trying to get back to my pre-baby weight and crush my business and have my hour-long prayer time in the morning and be the perfect wife. And you do one thing at a time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Or just say, I will quit this one bad food or whatever, right? Like do one little promise to yourself at a time, and these moments will add up. And so it's not like you have to make it. Right. You can make it in little tiny moments that all add up.
Yep.
Can I ask this to you guys too? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it powerful when you do, even like Ashley saying there, a little thing that is like a new step of the promise to yourself? Is it powerful to like applaud yourself in that, or say, great job, and to kind of build your esteem in that way?
Absolutely.
And
tell someone that you love.
Right. The one thing I would tell you that with that is it's absolutely crucial. But one thing you also want to do is never mistake movement for achievement. Don't think that just because I got my desk organized that I'm on my way. Those aren't things that they're important, but they're not. It's just movement. That's not achievement. That's not moving towards the goal. It's a little tiny itty bitty step. And I think that's what a lot of people do, is they'll procrastinate by mistaking movement for achievement.
So Tamara, I know in our text message you mentioned when some people are in other towns and they need like simple steps, reach out to one new person a day. Do you want me to be in the video at all? Or?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That can be your first step. Reach out to, and you don't even have to reach out to them about your product. You can just reach out to them, make a new friend. And then next time when you follow up just to say, hey, how's life? They're going to say to you, well, hey, what's new with you? And you say, well, I'm just having a lot of fun doing this little business I do. Right. And that way it can be brought up casually, and you're not trying to like inject it in the very first conversation that you have with them. And then same thing, even if you can just promise yourself to follow up with just one person per day. So meet one new person and follow up with one new person, and maybe like 1 3-way call. Like give yourself tiny little things like that. Perfect. And then if you're in Tammy's team, or you have somebody in your team, or you have a good friend you trust, call them up and say, I followed up with one person today. I know that might seem cheesy or like not enough, but it is.
Absolutely.
And let them celebrate with you. Right.
Yeah. I mean, a car, when you look at, I don't know if this analogy is going to be 100% perfect, but when you're looking at like a race, like a sprint, they don't start off going full speed. They take that first step and it's slow. And that's all about building that momentum, which we talked about yesterday on the call. So those first little tiny steps can mean a lot, even if it's just following up with one person a day. It can be huge, because you might do that one person and be like, I can do another, and I can do another. And then at the end of the day, you've done 10. So, all right, we'll wrap this up pretty fast. We're at about 45 minutes. So you never stop building this belief. So that's the thing, is you might get into this cycle, but never stop this cycle. It always needs to be increasing, because you always need to increase what you think you deserve before you can ever make what you think you are worth. So I'll repeat that for people on the phone. You need to increase what you think you deserve before you can ever make what you think you are worth. Next line on this bad boy.
So basically, you are worthy and you do deserve it all, as long as you just take the action and do it out of compassion.
Right. I already talked about that one a little bit. So just a real quick recap before I let Ashley take back over and wrap this bad boy up. Real quick, I'm just going to go back over the whole thing. If your business isn't where you want it to be, it's because you're not where you need to be. Number 2 is if you have a negative self-image of yourself, it was made that way in error. You know that your self-image can change. Decide who you want to be and write down all the quality and characteristics you want to assume. Then name that person and write down all those qualities and put their name at the top. Whenever you feel like all of a sudden a name hits you, it doesn't matter. The name can be silly. Like, I love what Tamara did. She didn't want to be like, Suzanne. That's what I thought. No, she like, it hit her and she said it. And even as silly as it sounds, it's that's that name for that person now moving forward. And then build strong associations with the people that you associate yourself with.
Yeah.
A couple of real quick homeworks. Find someone that represents those qualities and characteristics you wrote down earlier. Either get around them as much as you can, or
even if it's via webinar,
or if it's somebody who you can't be, or like say they're a deceased individual, but they have really great books. Read the books, watch the videos on YouTube, things like that. And then I think this is really important for people to do so that this whole thing can get kicked off on the right positive foot, is write down 3 positive experiences from your past when you followed through and kept a promise you made yourself. Because I don't want people to listen to this and think about, I'm just a worthless piece of crap because I always break my promises. That's not necessarily true. That's what you're kind of telling yourself. So we want to kick this off right away with you writing down 3 times in the past when you said you were going to do something and you finished it. And you were proud of yourself. Put it on a Post-it note and put them all around your house, because as much as I focused on the negative associations of the self-image you have here, there are parts of your life that you are a complete rock star in that other people are not. So always keeping those associations around the house to remind yourself, hey, I'm awesome. That's super, 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 super important to do.
Only compare yourself to yourself.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to turn this back over.
I totally have something I got to add on to that, babe. I got to.
You got to.
I'll switch you if you want.
Yeah, you better. Yes.
That way they don't see our dirty kitchen.
Right.
Okay, so was that good so far?
Oh my God, that was awesome.
So to add on to that, becoming like someone else that you look up to, I was listening to this mindset course, and this hit me like a freaking ton of bricks. You know how all these books about the 7 habits of highly successful people, or your habits become your reality, habits. And I am a personality type that is not very good with structure and habits. I am very spontaneous and crazy, as most of you guys know. But again, that's a story I tell myself, because the truth is, if you actually create some habits, because I used to think that habits and structure and discipline were boring, right? But the truth is, if you actually can truly create some positive habits and discipline, then you actually get to have more fun because you have more freedom, right? Boom shakalaka, right? Because they say that, what is it? Is it chaos within structure? I don't remember, but that you can actually have more fun within structure and discipline. And so here's the last little part of that, Tammy. The person said, what do you think that these successful people that you want to be like, right? Whether they're, you look up to them because they make a lot of money, or because they are super compassionate and they really make a huge impact on the world, or they are super cool and they're funny, and whatever it is that you want to be like them, what do you think their daily habits and rituals are? And see,
well, that's another aspect of the training.
Yeah. You said that already, but picture it really though. Like, in the morning, do they hit the snooze 3 times? Promise you they don't. So do they do some mindset work? Do they
play on their phone all day?
Do they play on their phone, or do they actually get some action? Yeah. So anyways, try to picture that. So I'm going to really quickly tell you guys about something we created that we think would have made, okay, so we've been successful in our home-based business now for the last 4 years. We were decently successful the first 3 years, but still kind of living paycheck to paycheck. But the last 4 years, we've been making a multiple 6-figure a year income. and actually happy in our business, where we were stressed out the first 3 years. And we thought back to, I can hear the baby squirming over there. We thought back to everything we've been through and everything we've learned. And we used to go to our company events and grab leaders and buy them dinner and be like, we're buying you dinner and you're telling us your secrets, right? Because we knew there was more than what they were just saying on stage. Because they can never give you the deep nitty gritties from stage like they can sitting one-on-one, especially because you have your personal questions. You want to be like, but what about this? And what about this? You can't do that when they're on stage, right? So, and just like this webinar right here, like I'm getting to talk to Tammy, but I can't talk to everyone on here, right? And so we started seeking out, we got some great coaching from our sponsors, absolute great coaching. But we were like, there's got to be like some other secret we're missing. They're not telling us. So we thought, well, we're going to talk to these other coaches and we're going to see. And like we had to pay lots and lots and lots and lots of money. And then we'd only learn like one little new thing, right? From like an hour that we paid like $500 for that hour of coaching or whatever. It was insane. And it was good. You know, all those little nuggets add up. But we were thinking about how can we serve like you guys and everyone on here and serve people in the industry. Because we used to be the type that's like, we're not going to talk to anyone else in any other network marketing because we don't want them trying to recruit us, right? Well, the truth is you actually need to love on everyone, no matter who they are, where they are. You never know, their company might fall through. And then because you were their best friend and cared about them, they want to work with you. If they're, you know, there was Vima is a company that fell through. Herbalife didn't fall through, but it had some major falling out. And that kind of stuff does happen. And so when you're there loving on them, it works out, right? So we decided to make the industry better as a whole as much as we can, and including our company, of course. But so we were thinking about, okay, how can we, most of you have probably bought some sort of digital course online of like how to prospect better, how to follow up better, the secrets to network marketing success, which is funny because that's actually what our program is called, the 3 deepest secrets to network marketing success. That I used to think that was cheesy, but like that's what grabs people's attention. It's like, oh, what's the secret? You know? So we were like, okay. In these digital courses, like that little snippet that you just got today from Brian's course, they're great, but you can't ask your questions, your personal questions, on the digital courses or at live events. And if you want to ask your personal questions, you've got to pay a minimum of $250 an hour, which is what the cheapest coach we found in the network marketing industry. And so we were like, what would we have wanted that includes all this mindset stuff plus business skills, network marketing skills, people skills, group momentum, community encouragement and inspiration, constant accountability, like all the stuff we wish we had. Because like, you know, for example, I told you we had amazing sponsors. Tammy is our sponsor. But sometimes, like, you know, they go through things in their life and they need a break. And, you know, our sponsor, he was always on a missions trip, which is great. But sometimes we wanted him back in momentum with us, right? And so we thought, how can we add this all together? And we created this thing called an inner circle. And if you don't know what that is, it's kind of all over now. Like people are doing it for like life coaching and business coaching. And we wanted to create one that was, we're calling it the HeartFueled Hustler Inner Circle, because there's so much hype and fakey, salesy, pushy, hypey stuff out in the network marketing industry. And we wanted this one to be completely compassion-based and completely for people who you want to be financially free. You want to make boatloads of money so you can save the world and take care of the certain charities you want, or pay for your kids' college or something, right? Of course you want to be financially free, but you want to do it in a way that resonates with your soul and not in like a pushy, way or salesy way, or trying to be like, well, this guy made $500,000 this month. Don't you want to join my team? Like, if I see that one more time. So this is what we created. And if you want more information on it, let us know. So the course that Brian just talked from, that's a $400 course. Like, that's the value is $400, and we're giving it away free for people that join this inner circle. And it's going to have 3 Monday nights a month, live Q&A with hot seat training. So like, you know, and maybe if we have time, Tammy, I'll like answer one of your particular questions that you feel like hold you up in with you. Because that's what we're going to do, these little hot seats, like, and you know, depending on how many people we get into the inner circle, you'll have to fill out a form ahead of time to get a hot seat spot in case there's a lot of people, but we'll still do trainings and Q&A. You will get all your questions answered those 3 Monday nights a month. Then you're going to get 2 actual trainings, like the actual workbook, physical workbook, and the USB mailed to your house, because we every month, two of them every month, because we realize you need continual education, continual deep trainings. And a lot of times when you're doing it just through digital courses, you get distracted by Facebook, or your, you know, internet shuts off or whatever. With the USB and the physical workbook, you can just pretend like you're at school, shut the internet off, and didn't have no distractions, and really get deep into the training. And then we're doing a once a month email accountability. So you can personally send us your business, like what you're going through, what's working and what's not, and where you have, where you feel comfortable and where you don't feel comfortable, and give you a strategy to get to the next level that you want to get to. So that'll be a once a month email accountability, plus the live webinars with the hot seat coaching, the 2 trainings, deep trainings. It's not fluffy trainings. Hopefully if you just heard this last training, you realize this is deep stuff. And we'll do business skills too, not just this mindset stuff, but mailed to your house. And then the Facebook community, and inside that is not just going to be like, you know, inspiration and encouragement. I'm actually going to start interviewing leaders from the industry, other like top network marketing leaders. And so you can hear from other leaders as well. I'm going to try to interview them within that group. So there's a special deal we're doing through Sunday night. Today is Saturday.
Yeah, so tomorrow night.
So if you want to know, reach out to us before tomorrow night, because the special deal is going to go away. The only reason we're charging, guys, is because of the mailings and for you to have skin in the game. Because how many times have you been given something for free and you don't value it? And then all of a sudden, even if you just pay $5, right? Like, or you pay a trainer $20, $30, $40 an hour to meet with you, you're like, oh crap, I paid that trainer, I gotta get to my workout session, right? But if you just have a little free membership at a gym, you don't go, right? So we wanted people to value it and really, really have skin in the game, so that they actually get into momentum and actually get results in their business. So Tammy, if you want, we have like a couple more minutes. Do you want to do a laser hot seat coaching on something that maybe you're stuck with?
Well, I mean, I think
if you want,
the main things that I want, I have no problem encouraging people. I have no problem helping people, but if I don't know what to give them, you know, if I don't know how to tell them, or I don't have like I don't want to call it system, but you know, if I don't have a simple, easy thing to empower them with, then I'm stuck to be able to help anybody, even myself. You know, what's the small,
like steps A through Z or A through C.
And just to empower. Just to empower. What is, I need something in my hands. I don't have a problem helping. I like to help. I can speak, whatever. It's just what is it that I can give to? You know,
now,
it's kind of abstract, because it's abstract in my head.
Okay,
question, you know.
So that's possible, Tammy. That's a limiting belief. I'm going to start with that, because, well, especially with, I know what company you're in. You know, there is some very simple steps. Whether they're just going to share the product, it's like, say, hey, this might help you. I don't know. Here's a free sample. And that literally is the system. And then of course, following up, but, and then with the business, like when you're first getting started, if let's say you're getting someone new started, it simply is the same thing, right? Offering your product to some people. Now there's a little bit of skill set in the way that you would maybe reach out to someone on being a partner with you in business rather than just the product. But it's pretty simple. I mean, it's pretty simple. So I think most of the work, and the reason we're doing this inner circle is for deeper mindset stuff, because, like our fears and distractions is really what holds us back 80% of the time. And then the other 20 to 30% of it is going to be people skills. And then a little bit of like closing lines, to give you some like different examples of like how to just go ahead and ask for the order or ask them to join you. So I think a little tiny bit of that is a mindset thing, because you're like, I don't have anything perfect to give them.
She's asking like, how do I inspire my team?
No, she said, I feel like I have no problem helping people, but I don't have a specific system to give them for them to thrive, basically.
I think like because simplicity is the most important thing on all of this. And that's actually one of the first things that we thought about. It's like, what do people need? What do people want? People need mindset stuff, but what people really want is being steps A through Z type thing.
Or say this magical phrase.
Right. And like, or scripts or things like that. And those work. So that's actually, we created, I don't know if you ever got that, the 8 core action steps for every network marketer. And it's like, it has like a little wheel that you can fill out. It's kind of like a fun little thing you can do. That's something. And
Is that on our website?
Yeah, it's on our website somewhere. I'll send you a link if you want it. But it's completely free. It's just a downloadable PDF. And it's like 8-9 pages long, and then you fill it out at the end. That's something that you could sit down with your people and be like, these are the 8 things that you need to do. That's it. These are, and you know what, and where are you at now with a lot of these, and where do you, and so like, okay, now you're really bad in this area, not bad, but you're not the best in this area. Let's work on that really hard for the next week. And honestly, if you just sit down with them and do something like that, there's going to be a lot of improvement with people, and you're going to be a lot more at ease, because it's just 8 basic things that everybody needs to be doing. And a lot of them are outside of business things that, like I said, in relation to the call today.
Your business is not where you want it to be if you're not where you want it to be. Yeah,
absolutely. So, and I can send that to you if you haven't had it.
Well, and that's the beauty. I mean, without sounding cheesy, like we hope that that's the beauty of what this inner circle will do is like, I mean, and we are not trying to sound like we know it all. We don't have all the answers, but we feel like we found some key things that finally helped us break through, and we've helped a lot of people on our team break through. So if you want your team to have constant momentum and constant work, get them into our inner circle. And then
what I like about it, by the way, is like with one guy that we had to do, he was like, he goes, okay, it's $12,000 in upfront, and it's for 6 months worth of coaching. And like, that's before we got on any coaching call with him. And it was like, he had like an introductory call where he like basically answered questions and we could see his personality type. But we were like, okay, well, he's supposedly really great, so let's just pay it. And he is really great, but it's like, wow, we had to drop $12,000 into that before we ever had anything. And what I like about this one is it's a 1-month thing. And if you're like, no, that was horrible, these guys are awful, that guy, I don't like him at all, and she's annoying, or whatever you want to think, or you didn't like these are the workbooks that we're sending out to people. This is the first month's worth of trainings. The first one is no quitters allowed. So how to help people prevent from leaving your business. And,
I gotta tell one more thing.
Oh, and then let me wrap it up, and I'll let you just close it off.
Okay.
That's what I like about it, is it's not something where it's this big, huge commitment, and it's something that is really helpful to people. And
try it 1 month; it's cheap.
And they're like 45 minutes or less, and that's what I like about them. It's not like a 12-hour training.
Oh yeah, course, so. We get to the point. But so I have to hit on this coaching program we did that we paid like insane amounts of money for. here's what's funny. This guy that was the coach, he has the exact same personality type as Brian, like very analytical, and just, he's very much just like, well, here's the steps, just do it. Why aren't you doing it? Like, you know, where I'm like, but I need to feel this and that, right? And what's so funny is Brian had been telling me the exact same things, but until I heard it from this other person, it didn't click. And it's just this weird psychology thing of, we won't listen to our parents sometimes, right? But we'll listen to somebody else's parents. We won't listen to our spouse, but we'll listen to a different trainer. Sometimes we won't listen to our sponsor. Oop, I've been very guilty of that. If he's on here, or if you, I know you know him. Even our sponsor, you know who I'm talking about. She's incredibly successful. Didn't listen to her sometimes. But as soon as someone outside of our company said, yeah, no, she's right, do that. Like, or you just need to do more of this. I was like, oh. And so that's kind of what we're hoping is this inner circle. Like if you have people in your team in it, that they'll finally listen to someone else besides you, you know, that's kind of what we wanted. So that's it for me. Did that help, Tammy?
Oh yeah. The whole thing was great. I loved it. You guys
Maybe
are awesome.
For your question, do you feel like there really is some simple stuff you can give people?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I know they're simple, and it has to be simple because it has to be duplicatable, that they can show this and then easily show somebody else. And then that person can take that. I can do that and show somebody else. So yeah. And I want that 8-wheel thing too. So
yes, because I know your company and your product, the simplest thing, in my opinion, the only reason I keep saying so generic, because there's people on here not from our company. So it's so simple. It's say, hey, I want to give you, I think, you know, I want to give you the sample. It might help you, or you might feel really energized and great, right? And then you got to watch this video so you know what the heck it is, you know, so you know it's actually special, right? And then in my opinion, third party is key, whether that's an actual third party call or it's just a third party informational thing, like from the doctors who believe in it, right? Or the veterinarian, or anything that connects that person will connect with. So again, that's part of the relationship aspect of it. If you don't have some sort of relationship with that prospect, that friend you're helping, how will you know which video is going to help them the most? So build the relationship. That's half the battle. Yep.
I can't think of anything else.
And then in this whole thing, a lot of people have been asking me how to like dig deeper and like actually approach people on the business and have people actually coming to you saying, man, I don't know why, but I just love your energy. I just love the way you have this freedom lifestyle. Can you tell me, like, what are you doing? Right? Like that happens to me a lot on social media. And I want to teach people how to do that rather than just like, buy my product, join my business. Like It doesn't work. Tell me, maybe it's worked like 1 out of 100,000 times that you've posted it. So that's one of the biggest things I'm going to be teaching is that attraction marketing, social media, and in real life. Cool. So.
Alrighty. Anything else, Tamara?
Let us know.
It's great. You guys.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. Cool. I love it.
This is going to go on YouTube too. So we'll put the link also in that too. But if anyone wants the link to learn more, let us know.
Alrighty.
Perfect.
We'll let you all go. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Love you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.